Okay, so got another bathroom to do here. Shower stall. I'm putting the Durock up. Copper pan. I have to fold this over a bit here. And Durock. And I'm going to waterproof it. It's going to be a floor. There's going to be a border going all the way across under the mirror and tile all the way across the top. And so I'm going to get this Durock up today, and then I'm going to waterproof it and put in the mud. And this wall is way out of whack. If I put this level across here, and you can see that it's a big gap on this side and on this side, and it's flat over here. So I'm going to fur this out and put the Durock on. This one here, these are all pretty good. All the way across. It touches. Is about a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch there, and then it touches all the way across. So I'm going to fur just one of these out, maybe, or both. I don't know. I'll fur both. Want to fur that out and put the Durock up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is sister up a couple of pieces of strapping onto these studs, which are a little bit further back than the other ones. When I put the level across, I want all the studs to touch, so that when I put my Durock up, the wall will be flat. If one wall is if a stud is further out, or if it's further back, what happens is when you put the Durock up, you're going to get a bow in the wall. So by sistering up or furring out, so that all the studs touch that level when I put it across, that means that the wall will be flat. And I'm going to do that with this wall and the other wall. The wall on the right is actually pretty good. So that's one, and I'm going to work on the other side now, and I'll do the bottom piece as well. Okay, so I got these all filled out. I'm going to put them Durock up now. Well, copper pans are very common still in my area here. A lot of people use them. I don't always get to choose what kind of liner is going to be installed, so I just go with whatever the whatever's going to be used. If it's my choice, I would probably use a Schluter product, but because I don't always get to call the shots, I just use whatever has to be used. As I said, copper pans are still very common in my area. Vinyl liners, if there's a vinyl liner that's going to go in, then I install that myself. I don't trust anyone else to do it. And technically, if I waterproof everything. I waterproof the walls, I waterproof the mud, I waterproof the curb, I waterproof everything. Technically, if you're not, that's why I can bury the Durock in the mud a little bit. But technically, if you're not going to waterproof your mud, then the Durock should be above the mud, and you should seal that joint with some caulking or some silicone or something or other, so it doesn't absorb any water. But because I waterproof everything, the copper pan, the line has almost become redundant. Another thing to keep in mind is you don't want to let the Durock actually, or whatever backer board you're using, touch the liner. You always want to keep it above the liner. I usually keep it 3/4 of an inch to an inch above, because like I said, I'm waterproofing everything. So, but I don't want it to touch the liner regardless. Also, you should never put any screws below the height of the curb, and you actually should keep the screws a few inches above the height of the curb. Okay, so when you can't use drywall screws, you can't use anything that's not coated or protected or galvanized. These are actually Durock screws. You can get these ones here. You get these ones here. Durock. Do not use drywall screws because the chemicals in the board will just eat it away over time. So you have to make sure you get the correct screws. And you put one every 8 inches. Not one every foot, every 8 inches. So I'm staggering the joints so I don't have one line going straight up and down, and I'll fill these pieces in as I go up. Okay, so the easiest way to cut this is just with a keyhole saw. Just like that.
Okay, so how do you cut Durock? It's actually quite simple. If I can find my knife. Just use a utility knife. Score it a couple of times. Just bend it back. And then cut it from the back. Clean up the edge if you need to. And that's done. Okay, so this is a copper pan. So there's only one way of doing this. And that is I have to snip this and fold it over. So that's the only way of doing that. So I'm putting in the fiberglass mesh tape. This has to be alkali resistant. You can't use the drywall version of this. It has to be alkali resistant. This is what I'm putting up now, and then I'm going to mud it. Okay, so this is just thin that I'm going to use to level the seams. And you want to keep that very, very thin so you don't create a hump when you tile it. So just coat over it, fill the joint, and keep it thin. So just do the whole thing like that. Okay, so that's all taped. I'm going to get this curve after I put the mud in, because otherwise I'll be kneeling all over it. So you want to keep it as flat as possible, no build up. So when you tile over it, you won't have a hump. So, okay, so I've leveled the perimeter around, all the way around it's level. And I have another video, actually I have a couple of videos where I show exactly how to do that, 2 different ways, 2 methods of doing it. And so if you want to know how to do that, you can just check out my videos. And so I'm just going to fill in the middle here and pitch it down to the drain, and the pitch has to be at about 1/4 inch per foot. So that's what I'm doing now.
Okay, so just a quick overview. Because I set the perimeter height of the mud higher than the drain, when I screed down towards the drain, the pitch will be correct and go, flowing down to the drain. Because this is a rectangular shower, and it's not, the pitch will vary depending on how far away the drain is from the wall. But because you're screeding down from a level perimeter, that pitch will automatically vary depending on the distance from the drain. So anyway, like I said, I have a couple of other videos which explain the whole process from mixing the mud all the way to leveling the perimeter and screeding it down. So I'm just going to really fast forward through this section, and then we're going to get to the waterproofing.
Okay, so that's the already tries for waterproofing. That is pitched. Nice pitch to the drain. Okay, so I'm gonna waterproof this shower now, and in the corners and along the curb, and in the knee wall, I am going to put this fabric to reinforce it. It's a fiberglass fabric, and that gets impregnated with the waterproofing, and then I'm going to coat the whole thing with waterproofing. Okay, so I'm cutting the fabric to these corners. That piece goes in that corner, that piece goes in that corner, and this goes like this. Goes in that corner. Like that. And this piece goes like that. And then I'm going to cut this one for over here. And then I'm going to do that here. I'm just going to fold that one over like that.
Okay, so it is exceedingly important to waterproof the curb. Most times where leaks occur, it's at the curb and at the corners. So I always reinforce all the corners with the fabric, and then I apply the waterproofing membrane over it. And the corners, I wrap them so that the fabric goes in all directions, and I'll show you that a little bit later. And then I coat everything with 2 coats. Waterproofing is very, 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 very important. Some guys will be tiling it, they'll put the Durock up or whatever cementitious backer unit they're using, and then tile right over it, and then when they get leaks, they're surprised. You have to waterproof. There's no 2 ways about it.
Okay, so this is what I'm using for waterproofing. Maypay Aqua Defense. Before you use it, you want to shake it. Well, stir it real good. In this case, I'm going to shake it because it's only half full. So, but you want to make sure all the components are completely mixed. So that's what I'm going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to give it a coat with the paintbrush, put the fabric on, and then another coat. Okay, so I got all the corners, and now I'm gonna do this knee wall over here. Okay, so I'm going to do this code now. Okay, so I got it all the corners and everything done. Now I'm going to roll it first in one direction, let it dry, and then go in the other direction. This is a 1/2 inch nap roller. So that's one coat, and let that dry to a dark green, and then I'll do another coat. Okay, so I'm going to do all the corners here around the bottom where the Durock meets the mud, and I got some corner pieces there I'm going to show you. And when you're waterproofing, you really want to wear gloves because this stuff sticks to your fingers like crazy, and it's really hard to get off. So on the gloves it comes off easier, but when it's dried on your fingers, that stuff is brutal. So I'm going to do that now over there. So this is a corner piece that I made. You just fold it in half and you cut to that corner, and then just do it like that. So this one I'm going to put in these corners first.
I always do this because, especially copper pans, they don't have any weep holes. So I am going to waterproof it so no water can get into the copper pan. The drain is actually not designed for to be sealed with the waterproofing, but I get it kind of under the drain, and I do get a very good seal with it. So that's why I waterproof the mud as well.
Okay, so the first coat is dry, and now I'm going to give it a second coat and then walk away. And this time, first coat I went like this time I'm going like this. Okay, so 2 coats all around the perimeter, and the mud I want it to sit over, to cure over the weekend. So, and then I'll give that a coat as well. Next is tile. Okay, so I'm putting my ledger boards, one here, and one on the other side. And I'm just putting it on with a few screws. When I take those screws out, I am going to fill those holes, make sure it's waterproof. And I'm using a laser, but you can use a level. Just put get your level. Put your line across. And then put your board on the line. But I'm just using a laser because I have it and so I'm going to use it. And it makes your life easier. And do one on the other side. Okay, so just to show you how I'm laying this out, I tried going from the center and either way, and I got a small piece about 3 inches on either side, so I moved it over. So the way I figured it out is I'm going to have a full piece on, start in that corner, and then wrap around and continue the tile, the piece that falls off here. So what's going to happen is start with the full tile over there, then this is going to go over here. That piece that I cut off here, I'm going to start on this side, and that'll end up just where that is there. Like that. And then I'm going to start with a half tile on top of that, and then continue that around like that. It seems confusing, but it's not. And then, so these tiles are going to be like this, and then the half tile on top like that. And I'm actually at a good height for my bench seat. Bench seat is going to be over there. And so that's how I'm going to get it. You just got to try different layouts, see what works the best, and this one's the one that works the best. Okay, so they want the recessed niche here, so the solid line is what I'm going to cut out, and the dotted line is the finished, what the finish is going to look like, and there's going to be a shelf right here. So I'm going to cut this out now. Next, I'm just going to check to see where the 2x4 is here. It's supposed to be in here somewhere, so let's see where it is. Right there. And I'm going to cut this stud out. So I'll clean that up a little bit, and then I'll put some frame it in. So I got a piece of 2x4 here. Now do the sides. The top is already a piece there. Do the sides. Okay, so I got 2x4 over here. I just put the screw in here, just so that I got something to grab onto and maneuver it if I have to. I got the 2x4s in, and on this side too. And this is actually Durock on the back here, so I don't have to put a piece in the back there and make them nice and deep. And so I am going to put Durock all around this, and then waterproof it. Okay, so it's level this way, and this way it tilts forward. So any water that gets on it will run off. And when I put the tile on top, it'll do the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to put these pieces in. Okay, so waterproof that, and that'll be all set. Okay, so I'll waterproof it, and this is how I make an inside corner, like that. So make one for here, 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 and here. Something like that. This one will go like this. And this one will go like this. And that'll be completely sealed and waterproofed. And I'll do that all the way around. Okay, so this one first. Well, it really doesn't matter, but this is how I like to do it. This one first. In the corner. Paint some more on. Like this. So you've got a flap here, a flap here, a flap here. So like I was saying. So it goes like this. This is why you wear gloves. Okay, so just to show you, I got that one on like I showed you, and this goes on like this. Folds over there. This is gonna fold over there, like that. And this one is gonna fold over like this. So all the corners are done like that. Then I got a piece for here. It's gonna go in here. Like this. I'm gonna fold over. Now that is completely waterproof. Well, you're gonna put 2 coats on. Okay, let that dry, and then give it another coat. Okay, so I'm using a 3/8 inch square notch trowel, and I'm going to use a MLT leveling system as well. Okay, so these tiles are large format, and the definition of a large format tile is any tile that has one size that is larger than 15 inches. So if you've got a tile that's 12 by 24, obviously that's a large format tile. But if you have a tile that's, say, 6 inches by 24, that's still considered a large format tile. So any side larger than 15 inches is considered a large format tile. So with the use of large format tiles, that's going to require the use of a trowel with larger teeth. Now in this case I am using a 3/8 inch square notch trowel. So what that means is the notches are 3/8 inch deep and 3/8 inch wide. There are larger trowels than that. I often use a 1/2 inch square notch trowel. There's all different sizes of trowels. So when you depending on the size of the towel is going to determine the size of the trowel that you're going to use. Okay, so I'm actually going to notch the walls with a thin set, and I'm going to do the same on the back of the tile. And what this does, it gives me enough depth of thin set to be able to make adjustments so I don't have any lippage. Okay, so when you use a large trowel, you usually want to use a medium bed mortar. Now, medium bed mortar is just a thin set which allows you to make the bed of the thin set under the tile a little bit thicker. Thin set you can't really make it that thick, but with a medium bed mortar you can make it a little bit thinner. I mean a little bit thicker. Okay, so because these are large format tiles, I'm going to use a tile leveling system. Now the name tile leveling system is actually not really a good name for these systems. They should be referred to more as a lippage tuning system, because with these systems, no matter what it may be, you still need to have do all the prep work to get the walls or floor, whatever it is you're tiling, as flat as possible. So
I'm actually using the MLT system, which is probably one of the best systems out there. And I have actually several videos that explain exactly how the system works and all the options available to this system. So I'll leave a link in the description to one of those videos if you're interested, that explains exactly how it works and how to use it. Now I'm not going to go through all that here in this video because, like I said, I have a bunch of videos that already do that. Okay, so in this bathroom I'm actually using the porcelain plates of the system, whereas I could have used the offset plates, but I didn't have any of the offset plates left, and I had plenty of porcelain plates, so that's what I used. Okay, so back to thin sets. This, as I was saying, is a medium set mortar, and it's actually a polymer modified thin set. And you know, I interchange thin set mortar. It's the same thing. So, as I was saying, it's a polymer modified thin set mortar, and it is actually Ultraflex 2 LFT. Now, I like to use when I'm going over like a waterproofing membrane, like Mapai, Aqua Defense. That's what's on this wall here. I usually always use a polymer modified thin set mortar. Yeah, if this was like a Schluter bathroom, where you know, the orange stuff, then you would use a non-modified or an unmodified mortar. But because this is just a traditional type bathroom, I'm using a polymer modified mortar. Okay, so this tile is set overnight. Now I am going to remove all the straps and the caps of this lovely system, and then I'm going to move on to the glass border. Okay, so I took out all the MLT, cleaned it up a little bit. This is the glass border, just going up there, just like that, 7 pieces, 7 rows. And so I'm gonna get ready to do that now. Okay, so
I gotta put this border up here, but it's too far back like that. So I'm getting a piece of Ditra, I'm filling it up, and then I'm applying it to here to give it a little more depth so it comes out to the right level. So that's what I'm gonna do all around here. I'm gonna put this Ditra all around here just like this. So this is already filled. So I'm going to do that all the way around. Okay, so I got the glass on. What a real pain. But it's on now. This was very, very difficult to do. Okay, so I've got a couple more rows at the top to do. And I'm actually just going to back out the tiles and put them up. So I'm back buttering. Okay, so when you're tiling around the mirror like this, you want to make sure you leave a nice little gap because the glass moves a lot more than the tile. So you're going to leave room for the expansion and contraction. Don't put it tight because it's going to cause problems. Okay, so whole shower area is done, except for the floor. So, I'm putting these on. So I'm gonna back butter it, put some cement on the wall, and stick it on. Funky one. So I'm going to continue that all the way down the line. Okay, so that's all the way down. And then here, this piece is going to go in like this. But they're going to change this mirror first. It's all cracked, see? I broke it. Okay, so that's all done up to that corner, and these are the pieces that came off there, and I'll continue around that side there when they change the mirror. Okay, so I got this piece of marble here for this niche, and then there's going to be another one right around here to make a shelf for the soap. And I'm just cutting in the bull nose, and then I'm going to put the tile in the back. And I polished this edge here, and on the other one too. And this is level that way, and then tilting toward the shower that way. Jeez. Sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate. I cut a piece back here and back here, and a couple pieces there. Now, I'm doing this because the pattern follows all the way through. This is a full tile. It's supposed to be a full tile, and it's supposed to be in the middle of the half tile. That's why I'm doing this, so the pattern follows through. Now I can put the shelf on. Oh, that's that. This is done also over here. A lot of little pieces in that one. So it's Friday, Monday, shower floor. Okay, so I'm gonna put this floor down now, and I put this counter in here, and they broke the mirror. So that's another hold up for me. Okay, so this is a tile for the shower floor, and I'm just gonna lay it out and see how it falls and where I have to cut it.
So what I might actually do is push it back. And cut it right here. See how that falls. So that's halfway through. That is about 1.5. So that actually works out pretty good. So I'm gonna cut this like right down here, and then I should get more or less the same piece down the other end. And then I'll see how it goes this way. So if I take these off here, it'll probably fall good there. So I'm going to try that. Okay, so that's how I figured it out. Cut that there. It's about the same size on the back. And then back to front. Like that. So I'm going to try that, lay the rest of it. Okay, so it's all cut in. Now I'm going to cement it down. Okay, you can cement them down. Okay, so the first section is cemented down. Now I'm going to move on to the next section. And what I do is I pick up the pieces in order and lay them on the tile that's already cemented down, and I stack them. So I know exactly where each piece goes. And I remove all the tiles because everything's already cut in, so all I have to do is just spread some thin set and put them back. Okay, so I remove all the tiles in such a way that I know exactly where to put them once I've spread the cement. Okay, so now I have some thin set spread. I'm gonna carefully put them in place and then pat them down with a grout flow. And as I said, I stack them in such a way that I know where every piece goes.
Okay, so that's the shower floor. Next I'll put on the last row of tile on the walls and then finish up the rest of the bathroom. Okay, so this floor is going to be heated, and what I'm going to be using is Ditra heat. And there's 3 components to this. It's the mat. This is the Ditra mat, but it's for the cable system, for the wires. It's in place of the regular Ditra. You use this one here, and the wires snap into these grooves. See, like in the picture here. And this is the programmable thermostat. You also have another thermostat which is not programmable. And you get it in different lengths. So this is what I'm going to be installing. This goes down like regular Ditra. Comes in panels like this, or you can get it in a 134 foot roll. I don't need 134 foot, so I got these panels in another box of it there. And there's the cable. You'll see this in a little while. So I'm going to be installing this on the floor. Okay, so I vacuumed and cleaned the floor, and now I'm going to start putting these down.
Rather than going into complete detail in this video, I'm just going to give more of an overview. And I actually have another video of this very same floor, which I uploaded a few months ago, that gives detailed instructions on how to do this. So this video is going to be more of an overview than a detailed guide.
Anyway, so I'm going to get all these down, and we'll try and make these knobs line up so that when you run the wire through, it'll be easier to run it through. So I'm going to get all this down, and then I'm going to put the wire in. Okay, so it's all cut in. I haven't cemented it down yet, so that's the next thing. Now, usually for the Ditra, you use this trowel here, but for the Ditra heat, you use a 1/4 inch. This is a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch square notch trowel, so this is what you use for the Ditra heat. Gets all the dust off, dampens the plywood, and now backside of the trowel first to key it in.
Okay, so since this is a plywood some floor, I'm using a polymer modified thin set to install the Ditra. If this had been a concrete floor, then I could have used an unmodified thin set. So when you buy your thin set for the floor, don't just buy the cheapest bag of thin set you can find. Buy a good quality premium thin set. That way you know you're going to get a good bond and it's going to perform the way it's supposed to. Okay, so once you place your Ditra into the thin set, you want to smooth it out. I usually use a wooden float, and what this does, it pushes the Ditra into the thin set and removes all bubbles or oil trapped underneath. That's good coverage. And this is what you want to see for coverage. Good coverage. So I'm going to do the rest of this now. Okay, so you have to say 3 inches away from the wall, and so I've marked all that out, so you can't put any wire closer than 3 inches to the perimeter. So that's all marked out, and from a heat register you have to stay 8 inches away. So I've got that marked out. 8 inches away, 3 inches, 3 inches, 8 inches away. And then no point going under the toilet. And 3 inches away around here. So I've got that all marked out so that I know where I can't put the wire. Okay, so this is the Dietrich heat. Took it out of the box. And you get 2 probes, one here and one. You also get one in here, and both of these are going to be installed. That's the heat. These will sense the heat of the floor, and there's 2 of these. One comes with the cable, and one comes with the programmable thermostat. And you install both of them, but you only connect one. So that's that. And this is the cable. I'm going to test it now with the multimeter, and all the instructions come on the book that comes with it. And where did I put it? And these labels come with the cable. And it should be, that same thing should be on the cable here as well. Right there. So I'm going to test this now. Okay, so this comes with the Dietrich heat cable. It's actually also attached to the cable right here, and then there's another one, actually 2 more here. And what you need to do is, before you install it, you need to test it to make sure that it's good. So you're going to use a multimeter, and all the directions on how to do it are right here in the book. 1, 2, 3. Pretty easy. And then you're going to record it. If you want to keep the warranty, you're going to record it on here. So the first test you do is on this one here. It's 17.9, resistance is 17.9 ohms. So it has to be within 10% of that. So put your meter on the ohms. The symbol here. And then I got it on 200 so you can read it. Right here. And that has to be within 10% of that 17.95. So you measure these 2 here. One. And so. So
18.2. If you can read that. 18.2. If you can read up there. $18.2. So that's within 10% of that 17.95. So that's good. So then the other test, you put that on the alarm symbol there. So once you touch these two together, and you get one on the braid and one on here, and it shouldn't beep, and it should have an eye. See that's an eye over there. That should not change. So that's not changing. So that's tested good. See, if I put these two together like this, then it'll beep. Okay, so that's good. So it's within the 10%. It shows an eye, depending on the meter you have. Mine shows that one there. So this test is good for this cable with this here. So I'm going to turn it off, and I'm done with this meter. Then we need the mega ohm meter, which is this one here. And this has to read between the braid and one of the wires has to read more than 1,000. That's a good connection there. Turn it on. And then set to 2,000. I got it on 2,000. It has to be over 1,000 mega ohms. Has to be over 1,000 mega ohms. So we're good. So this is the sensor. One comes in the cable box, and one comes in the so you get two of these. You install both, but you only connect one. I'll test these now. So I'm going to test these now. $13.76. This one here. $13.02. Okay, so all tests were successful, and I'm going to do that again once I get the wire in the floor. And that's what I'm going to do now, put the wire in the floor.
Okay, so the wire has to be connected to the electricity and the programmable thermostat by an electrician. So I'm not allowed to connect the actual wires to power. But I can do the rest. I can snake the wire into the Detromat, install the probes, etc., etc. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting out a groove out of the Detra so that I can insert the connector where the wires at the end of the wire, near the part that has to be fed up through the wall and connected to the thermostat. There's a big connector which is much thicker than the wire itself. So that has to, you cut out a groove out of the Detra and then you place it into the Detra like that, and so that way it's not going to interfere with the tile when you install it.
So for now I'm just going to tape that down just to hold it in place. If I can find the tape.
Okay, so the heat wire goes spaced 3 pegs apart. You push it into the Detra heat mat, and you make sure that the wire is 3 knobs apart always. And you never cross the wire, and you can't cut the wire. The wire cannot be modified in any way. So when you order it, you make sure you get the right size for the area that you're covering. Okay, so it goes 3 pegs apart, and you have to stay 3 inches away from the walls. You have to stay 8 inches away from a heat source. You never cross the wire, and you never cut the wire. And it goes pretty quickly. And then if you make a mistake with the pattern, or you have to readjust it, you can just pull the wire out and do it over.
Now you put both of these in, and it goes in the middle of a run. So one in for now. Okay, so I got the 2 probes in, and the electrician's, I got a hole in there, and the electrician's going to run this wire when I'm done. But right now I'm going to test them again to make sure everything is good.
Okay, so we're going to test the wires again. The same test I did earlier. Now these wires have to get tested 3 times during. So once when you take it out of the box, once when you insert the wire into the floor, and then the last time when the tile is installed. So I'm not gonna go through the whole procedure here again, and like I said, I have another video that goes into great detail on this installation. So once this test is complete, the only thing left is to install the tile and grout the whole body.